Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. There is a practice that can change your life, and many people kind of shy away from it because they don't understand it. Some would call it a little woo. I'm talking about spirituality. And it doesn't have to, a lot of times we connect it to religion. It doesn't have to be about religion, although if you want to connect it, you absolutely can. What is it? How can you use it to move your life forward, have a more fulfilling, more peaceful life? We are going to talk about that today with an amazing psychologist. And she also rolls down the spiritual hallway as well for herself and helping others. And I'm talking about Dr. Ann Creekmore, who is also an author and has written some wonderful books, some of which include spirituality. How are you doing today?
Great, Steve. How are you?
Really good, really good. And I would have to say I started getting more spiritual about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a slow roll. And then I started realizing different things in that journey, different visuals I had, just epiphanies, with being spiritual. How do you define it? Let's start there. How do you define being spiritual or spirituality?
Well, I define it as going to your sacred space of love and peace. We talk about taking care, self-care, mind, body, spirit. That would be going to your place of connectedness to what's good or what's love and what's peace. And that can often, be if your religion helps you to get there, which it's, intended to do, or spiritual practices, general spirituality, they all kind of have that thread that we're supposed to get to God, if you will, or just that force or the good, love, inner peace, sacred space. That's how I define it.
I could share mine, but I want you, and this time I'm gonna push you to share first, because you always you do that psychologist thing where you make me answer.
Well, I'd like to know what you think. Yes.
Well, I'm going to throw it to you. How do you
that's fine.
Give me 3 things where you practice spirituality? Like, it could be a ritual, could be a habit, could be a thought. Doesn't matter what it is, but to get us more closer into the zone of understanding. What would you say 3 things you do that are spiritual?
Okay, well, I think, just speaking very generally too, that being spiritual, I think even cognitive behavioral therapy is spiritual, because we're talking about our cognitions, our thoughts, creating our outcomes, what we say to ourselves. It kind of affects how our emotions are, and then our emotions kind of determine how we behave, and how we behave determines our outcome in a situation. So I think of just our thoughts, which are our self-talk inside ourselves, or our talk, our communication, are like prayers. They're thoughts, they're creating. In fact, in my chapter 4 in the book, Open to Help, the idea, part of, I do try to help, people transform to their happiness and well-being in many ways. Change your thoughts to be positive, have positive life, take your feelings from negative and figure out what you need and go take it to a relieving place, solution. And in chapter 4, I'm encouraging people to open up to help. That can be opening up to therapy, that can, of course, or hypnosis or whatever, to renew your mind to that place of peace that you're provided for, you're good, that you can do all these things you think you can't do. But it's also to open up to spirituality or your religion and, doing your religious practices. Because if they bring you inner peace, if they're not like an exclusionary religious club that you're the only one. And, they found that spirituality, does, there's studies to show reduces mortality. It improves your physical, mental health, your self-care, your inner peace, improves your immune system, because your immune system is affected by stress. And if you bring yourself to mindfulness and peace, you don't, your immune function is is improved, your risk for substance abuse or your participation is can be helped by doing your spiritual practices. It's because it brings you to peace. And now that's what you're looking for when you're escaping into a drug or alcohol, is you're, looking for that adrenaline hit or something, feeling good. But if you've got that peace within, what do you need that for, really? So there's a lot of reasons, and there's more life satisfaction, happiness, all comes from, spiritual practices. And your emotional regulation, your coping mechanisms. You can be calm and think things through before acting, and feel positive minded and approach things and create positive things when you're in this place of love and peace. So things that I would say that I would do would be like breath work, following your breath. I have a particular little type of triangular breathing that I like to do. Just kind of, you breathe up the side of the imagine a triangle, and as you breathe, inhale, you could say, peace, and as you're exhaling, say peace, and at the bottom, just stop, rest, relax, say peace. Or if you're religious, and you can make it a mantra like, with God, breathe in, be still, relax, peace, and so you can, like breath work in the morning, taking 5 minutes just to breathe, taking 5 minutes in the evening, maybe as you're falling asleep. That can be that's mindfulness, they would call that in therapy and what they teach. It's basically kind of meditation. So meditative practices, breath work practices, realizing that your thoughts are prayers, that what you say is going to outpicture in your life, and, focusing on your positive self-talk, that you're, even if you're in a challenging situation, you can say, well, I'm going to experience this as for my good. I know I'm provided for, connected to good, to love, to peace, to God, if you will. And that I just ask, Holy Spirit or whatever to, help me see this differently, help me see this challenge differently, and move into that realization that I'm a lily in the field, that I'm provided for, and that I am moving into my good, that I can just release that fear, that pain, and just move into that. So I like the practice of just Holy Spirit, or however you want to view it, as, help me see this differently when you're in a challenge. And so that you can help me see this different, help me move right into my good and see it. Because a lot of times things that happen by appearance actually are slowing you down so that you can be open to the moving right into your good. So that to me is another practice. And just the catching the negative thoughts, what I call the original sin, because with, when the idea in the Bible, Adam and Eve, it was the idea that the story, and I believe, but, that they went over to the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God says to him, don't go there. He's God. He can manage negative thoughts, not go there. But, we all just flying around, naked, lush, beautiful garden, oneness with goodness, God, you're not able to handle all these negativities. But so they take it and they go, they have they eat and know the knowledge of evil. Then they can think negatively. Then that's what I consider original sin. They can all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, I'm naked. What's God going to think? Like you weren't always, supposedly there doing in the Garden of Eden before. And now it causes their behavior rather, to feel, their emotions rather, to feel shame. And then their emotions, this cognitive behavioral therapy, their emotions led to feelings, to behaviors of withdrawal from the good, from the lush, from feeling free to be naked flying in the garden. And so all of a sudden they're separated from the good by negative thoughts. So whatever you can do that brings you into your sacred space of love and peace, which could include cognitive behavioral therapy, catching the negative thought, putting in realizing you wouldn't say that to a friend or your family, and don't say it to yourself, be a friend, and put yourself in to a positive minded thought, realize the good. In fact, I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said that the true measure of man's mental health is his ability to, and happiness is his ability to see good everywhere. So that practice of always coming back to the good is another practice that I would have, the being, staying at the positive mind. So that when you walk into a situation, you're of love and peace, and you're much more likely, of course, to create that if you're in that mode and you're getting that, sending that vibe out. So those are a few practices that I would say that I would do.
Love that. And what I didn't ever realize that when we pray, we're putting something out there.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing as when we think something. So
exactly.
If you think something negative, you're putting it out there. And,
yes.
They say what you think or say becomes your reality. So you put it out into the universe, the same thing as you've said a prayer.
Exactly.
And would you say that somebody doing therapy is a form of spirituality?
Yes, I certainly when I do therapy with someone, I work on them being a whole, fulfilled person, working on their rights, their needs, repairing themselves. And that would include mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, the whole, your will. But really it boils down to mind, body, spirit. And I do view that absolutely as part of therapy. And I think that most good therapists, most people in religions, ministers, reverends, whatever, helping professionals, I think that if they are there, as caring people, they're going to be helping you to connect to and love yourself in terms of mind, body, spirit. And
I feel I'm right on your page, by the way, very much so. And I feel that people might gravitate toward this thing called spiritualism. Oh, it's got woo, it's not me. Well, did you ever take a walk and just wanted to have a little bit of peace, just a moment?
Right.
Taking a hike into the woods or just, walking your dog on a fresh morning and the dewdrops are dripping off the leaves.
Right.
Isn't that practicing spirituality of sorts?
And it is, absolutely, because it's like your heart, your sacred space, you're connecting to nature and to the good. The idea that in most religions is God is in everyone and everything. It's all the good out there, and just being at peace, not your mind, out of your head, and you're just connecting to that, to the peace of nature and the peace, your inner peace. So, yes, I think that the problem comes where people have different practices, and that can be considered the religions, where there's different specific doctrines or beliefs or the specific rituals or the practices. And some people do this religion with their particular things, or people even who are spiritual may have certain spiritual practices that work for them. And when we get into dividing ourselves, instead of recognizing we're all one, in the sense that we all have this capacity for this sacred inner peace and love, and connected it to that in the universe, then we don't have to get into arguing over the specifics of the religion, like that one you do, because your spirituality can be, paganism, in the sense of when if you really took it to the extreme, that would be walking in nature and connecting to the trees and connecting to good, and in a sense that could be that religion, if you will. But the idea is not to fight over the specifics, because it's kind of like arguing, like, well, we speak English, but they speak French or Chinese or German or whatever. What are we going to argue? It's all communication. We may not understand it. We are in a different culture and we speak a different language, but it's all the languages are good. We need to speak. And all of the spiritualities and the religions, unless they're led by someone who's become delusional from a bipolar, delusional, psychotic, disorder that they're leading and thinking of themselves, I think, like, say, Jim Jones took it where, is delusional to the point that he's actually ordered the mass suicide of his whole well, his whole clan, all his parishioners, if you will. And that, of course, is not good. Anything that brings us to hate or to hurt other people or harm other people, obviously, is we've gotten away from our inner sacred space of love and peace.
I'm thinking of all those other things that I guess come under the category of being spiritual right now, even,
Yes.
meditating. And
Yes.
what is that?
Mindfulness.
Right?
That's mindfulness in psychotherapy. I mean, in therapy, we teach mindfulness. That's meditation. And it's the same thing. It's getting to that breath and being with your breath, the breath of life, the prana, if you will, and just being at that place of peace and love. And so that's pretty acceptable as psychologists' skill sets. That's a healthy. It's not put down, but if somebody takes it a little further, out, then people might say, "Oh, that's a little too woo-woo." But why are we judging? We just need to let the judgments, the negative thinking go and be accepting of each other, if we're all trying to reach to our love and peace inside and be that way in our world, and accept however people are able to do that. In their particular way they were raised or what kind of fits for them is fine. And then just be happy that people are ethical and practicing wanting to have a space, get to their inner sacred space of love and peace.
What's your favorite spiritual practice, ritual?
What's my favorite?
Yeah, if you had to pick one, something that you do on a regular basis, one that you think is impactful for you. Anything that stands out?
I think some of the ones that I mentioned to you are ones that I would do on a regular basis. I mean, I tend to kind of live in that, in the sense of like always wanting to connect. And I mean, I was raised a Catholic, and so even though maybe I'm not just only one religion, because that I want to respect all differences in all people's ways and help all people. But of course, that was my original, introduction to God and so on, and just the idea that, just said in a little catechism, or a little white catechism, that God is everywhere and in everything, and God is love. So to me, that says everything. So just for me to keep that thought in mind at all times, I think is just very sustaining to me, and keeps, it might me at a peace and not, reacting, in an emotionally dysregulated way, just to kind of realize, wait a minute, if we think God, we think love, that's what we're creating. And so that is kind of I guess that would be my sustaining underlying practice that I have.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, in that if you approach everything with love, coming from your heart, and they say that's where everything should, forget it, stop doing that with your head. Come from that feeling of love. Mm-hmm. That is the best place you're going to be. And then when you start working that way, everything else around you is going to start changing, because you're going to feel it from other sources. Exactly.
And how about you, Steve? Would you like to share anything about your journey that you said and where you are, or a practice that really helps you to stay?
Sure. I would say on a regular basis, every morning I write in a gratitude journal. So I think that, we come into the category of being spiritual. I find time to find peace, even if it's for a few minutes, call it meditate. Just, sit there, think. I could wake up first thing in the morning. It's one of my favorite times. And,
Nice.
as long as I can fend off my dog, because he wants to go out, I must say like 20 times in the morning, lay down. Just it's not time yet. Lay down. I know you want to go out, but, we have a time that we go out. I will just reflect, close my eyes. I'll just think, I find it's a very peaceful time first thing in the morning. I'll go for a walk. I would say it's the things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, learning about this, talking to people like you, getting insight. Maybe, I've learned some things, but it validates what I've learned or how I interpret something. Yeah. So I put that under the category too, a thirst for knowledge of all this stuff. And certainly, the energy portion of it, big believer in everything is energy and how it works. And so I guess we call that a little spiritual as well. Absolutely.
That's beautiful. Yes. And so it's kind of like just a part of your life, and you're being at your sacred, space there, your divine space, getting there, throughout the day and starting the day that way. And of course, the gratitude is great because it is cutting that negative, original sin, if you will, of the negative thinking. You're not there because you're talking positively about all the good.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I
never did. When you're expressing gratitude or writing in a gratitude journal, whatever it might be, it's impossible to have negative thoughts.
Absolutely. You can only have one space there and you fill it with something and it's filled. And that's the whole thing with cognitive behavioral therapy, change your thoughts, say stop that negative thought and put the positive in. And it actually raises your serotonin, your positive mood neurotransmitter. You actually have well-being from it. And just being part of a spiritual group, a spiritual practice, religion, like you're saying, you have learning that occurs then, and you're focused on it. So your mind is on the good and growing and on peace and love. And all these factors, having community and having more inner peace and reducing your stress, leads to having a healthier, physically, mental life as well. It all works together.
You have to find a way to make it work with everything else. I guess, busy schedules, finding that time to take a walk, meditate, whatever it might be. But again, like we always say, everything is a habit. Why not make that your habit?
Right. Just let it flow in your life, with what fits with your biorhythms, that's how I'll put it. Just when would that be good for you, that you just feel like, like you find your time awake in the morning, you're in that sacred space yourself, you want to breathe and be grateful and go for a walk. Everyone needs to find when that time of the day or their energy is that way, and then just flow with it then.
Great talking with you about this today.
Yeah,
that's the other part of it. Finding like-minded people who, get this stuff, or even just exposing others to it. And
absolutely,
it's in your book, Love Yourself, Love Your Life. Mm-hmm. There's so much insight. There's a chapter about spirituality.
4, yes. Yeah. It's opening to help, to therapy and to hypnosis and to the AA groups that often pick something. And then to the spirituality. Mm-hmm.
Best way to find you if somebody wants to dig into this a little bit deeper, maybe need some therapy, Psychology Today, and just search for your name.
Yes, you can. Yeah, Anne Creekmore. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And if you're looking for the book, that's under her pen name, A.P. Filosa. And I meant to say books because you have more than one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful talking with you. As always, learn a lot, and you come from just a positive vibration. It's very refreshing.
You do too, Steve. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.